you, Leader of the House. Well, I got news for you. Let us assume that Central Bank could not make it yesterday for whatever reason. The letter got to them late. The clerk immediately dispatched another letter yesterday, re-inviting the CBN and its directors for this meeting you talked about at 1 p.m. In other words, giving them a second chance. The letter, amongst other things, paragraph 3 of the letters from the House of Representatives from the clerk says the ad hoc committee expressed disappointment at your inability to attend the meeting, thereby stalling the scheduled legislative business of the House. It resolved to re-invite you, the heads of operations and financial system stability department, to appear before the ad hoc committee to enable it address this topical national issue. The meeting is rescheduled as follows: Thursday, 26 January 2023, time 1 p.m., and the venue is stated Conference Room 301. The third paragraph says, please note that the committee will frown at deliberate refusal, neglect, or failure to heed this simple invitation, and may resort to all known constitutional legislative process to secure attendance. So that was the letter written by the clerk to the central bank after the failure to attend yesterday's important meeting. The clerk has now informed me that this morning he got a reply or a letter from the central bank, and it reads, invitation to a meeting with the ad hoc committee on the review of cashless policy. We refer to your letter reference such and such, dated 25th January 2023, inviting the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, to appear before the House of Representatives on Thursday, which is today, 26th January 2023. The governor is part of the President Muhammad Buhari's delegation to Dakar, the Republic of Senegal, for the Feed Africa Summit from the 25th to the 27th January 2023. Accordingly, he has requested that we respectfully convey his inability to honor the invitation of on the scheduled date. The governor regrets this and requests that the chairman and members of the committee be informed accordingly. Please accept once again the governor's highest consideration and very warm regards. That was signed by the Deputy Governor of Corporate Services. Honorable colleagues, in the first place, let me address the letter written by the clerk. He asked that the governor come with two heads, either the governor or the deputy governor come also with the heads of operations and financial systems and so on and so forth. So the letter was written to the governor and a couple of his directors. This letter from the central bank doesn't even talk about those. It just talks about the governor, and therefore nobody is coming. Let me be very clear, for the sake of openness. Let me say the governor of the central bank is somebody I know. He's an acquaintance, and in fact I can say that he is a friend of mine, and I think I need to put that out there. But beyond friendship, I, along with many members of this House, have a constitutional responsibility to discharge for the good of the people who we represent. And it is based on that I will my prepared text when I heard all that was going on with this ad hoc committee that was set up to conduct and look into the people's business, something that is biting so hard, and the fact that nobody showed up yesterday, and apparently it appears the governor and his people will not be showing up today. But I will still give them the benefit of the doubt. They have a few more hours, maybe about an hour, to rethink and show up. And I will encourage the committee to go to the committee room and await their arrival. If they don't, then we will take the steps that we need to take. But let me read this. I'm speaking directly to the governor and to the central bank and to the directors of the various banks that you have invited. I believe they are coming at what time? The MDs? 3 p.m. So the CBN is for 1 p.m. and the bank directors, MDs, are for 3 p.m. Now, the House of Representatives, in response to a motion on a matter of urgent public importance, invited the CBN and managing directors of banks in Nigeria to appear before the House of Representatives. They were invited to give reasons for the ongoing failure to adequately disburse the redesigned Naira notes before the expiration of the deadline of 31st January 2023, when the old notes will cease to be legal tender. The House further constituted an ad hoc committee led by the majority leader, Representative Alhassan Adodogwa, for this purpose. None of the managing directors or CBN invited have appeared or provided a sufficient reason for their inability to respond to the summons by the House of Representatives. This is unacceptable. Well, I have since been told that they were not invited for yesterday, the managing directors, they're for today. Okay? Now, this is unacceptable. The resolution of the House was predicated on information showing that the rollout of the redesigned Naira notes has been an unmitigated failure. This failure has real and dire consequences on the ability of Nigerians to conduct business across the country. The refusal by the CBN or managing directors to heed the invitation by the House of Representatives is evidence of a blatant disregard for the well-being of the Nigerian people who are their customers. It is also an insult to the authority and prerogatives of the People's Parliament. Therefore, if by the end of today there is further disregard to the summons of this House, I will, without hesitation, and pursuant to the authority conferred by Section 89(1)(d) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Order 1921 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, not hesitate to issue a warrant to the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police to compel the attendance of the CBN and or managing directors who fail, refuse, or neglect to respond to the summons by the House of Representatives. Let me repeat, for the avoidance of doubt, I will, pursuant to the authority conferred by Section 89(1)(d) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Order 1921 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives, not hesitate to issue a warrant to the Inspector General of the Nigerian Police Force to compel the attendance of the CBN and or managing directors who fail, refuse, or neglect to respond to the summons by the House of Representatives. Furthermore, I want to add this, that the House of Representatives recognizes the Central Bank of Nigeria's authority to determine the country's legal tender and to recall currency with reasonable notice, subject to the approval of the President. The House is also aware that Section 20, subsection 3 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act mandates the CBN to redeem the face value of the recalled currency upon demand, even after the expiration of the notice of recall, notwithstanding the deadline imposed by the Central Bank of Nigeria. And this House will see to it that this provision of the law is honored in full. Now let me explain that again. The Central Bank Act under Section 20 allows the Central Bank to change the legal tender. But it also says that after the expiration date, such naira notes changed will no longer be legal tender. But it says that even 5 months after, 3 months after, 2 months after, even in June, any old note presented to the bank shall be redeemed by the bank. That point needs to be made to the central bank and to the public. It has not been made. It is a provision of law. Gentlemen, if you recollect, in 2009 and 2010, the then governor of the central bank, Charles Soludo, introduced polymer notes and wanted to phase out 5, 10, 20, 50 naira notes. There was public outcry because of the time. At the end of the day, it was halted. And what did he do? He did what all known central banks do all over the world. He allowed for those 50 naira notes to continue in existence whilst he introduced his new notes until everything was mopped up by the banks. So they were operating side by side for the good of the people. Recollect, 2009, 2010, this is exactly what happened. And this is all that this House is asking, either an extension or pari passu. So, Section 20, subsection 3 of the Central Bank Act is perhaps what is most important right now. That after the deadline, whilst the old notes will no longer be legal tender. In other words, I cannot go to a supermarket, buy goods in the supermarket, and bring out my old notes. It is no longer legal tender. Now, if the supermarket attendant decides to take it, all well and good. But any old note, even the one with the supermarket attendant that is with him, if he decides a month later to take that money to the bank is under statutory obligation to accept it and redeem it at face value. And that is the provision of the law as passed by the National Assembly. So we'll move on to other matters of the day. But let me also say clearly that this matter will be concluded, must be concluded today. Unfortunately, gentlemen, please, it is a sacrifice. The Senate has gone on break yesterday. We're supposed to close the House today so that everybody can go and prepare for elections in 4 weeks. But we may need to make a day or a couple of days sacrifice. So instead of adjourning this House till the February 28th today, just to make sure we resolve this issue, we might need to come back Tuesday morning. Thank you.